Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On this episode, we review
a white wine from France, obviously.
Aaron
Welcome.
looked totally unhinged during that.
I am so excited.
He's holding up the glass and the bottle. He just looks like he's ready to party, which is fantastic. It's this time of year.
We'd ought to be. It's New Year's, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Another fantastic year in the book.
It's New Year's Eve, and we've said this before, you don't have to drink champagne on New Year's Eve, but we are.
But why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No reason
Well, I
not
would
to.
say this. You don't have to only drink champagne on New Year's Eve, but boy, what a great reason to drink champagne. Hey, we should
Absolutely.
probably mention that we appreciate you coming back and listening, and that my name is Joel, and I'm joined by two of the best parts of my last year, Aaron and Colin.
That was really
Stop.
It's been a lot of
That
fun.
was really.
Thanks, buddy.
It's
been a lot of fun. Yeah.
We've tried some great wines, some not so great wines, but a lot of learning. You know, that's the one thing over the past year. We've tried so many different regions and so many different grapes, and we've experienced so much. It's really been a fantastic journey with you guys. I've really enjoyed what we've been able to accomplish over the last year.
Absolutely.
Seriously, I mean, just look at us right now. Like we got fancy microphones. You know, we got
that is
we got
true.
lighting. It's all sorts of things happening. Like I posted my
Professionals.
setup now. You know, it feels we've come a long way. Come a long way. We've looked at the list of shows from this year, and some of them just feel so long ago. And I think back to where we were when we did those episodes, and we've come a long way. I'm proud of us.
We really have. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what though? We still got one more show this year we got to focus on. Still 2024 here.
That's right.
So
This is it.
on this episode, let's not phone this one in, guys. We've done 51 amazing episodes, and we got one more to do. Okay, professionalism.
Wow.
Listen, on this episode, we packed in some fun stuff for you to end the year. We are obviously going to try that white wine from France. We are going to play a little game called Gut Check. And we're going to go into our reviews. I think that sounds like a pretty good time. Listen, we talked about how we were drinking a white wine from France. Aaron, share a little bit more about these bubbles that we're going to be hopefully enjoying today.
I would love to. Today, we are drinking a champagne from Marie de Moy. Obviously, non-vintage, as we know, most champagnes that are in our price range aren't going to have the year on them. This is a Champagne Grand Cru. It's an ABV of 12%. And we got this for around $41.
And this was my pick. And yes, you're right. You know, this non-vintage kind of in our price range, but that sort of touches on why I chose this wine. I've done this for a couple of my choices this year, and for this one, I pulled up a listing, a reviewed listing of champagne, specifically champagne, sorted by expert rating, top to bottom, and scrolled until I found the first one that popped out that's kind of in our normal budget-ish, okay? And this one was amongst, $200-ish bottles of wine as I scrolled from the top. It was the first one to kind of ping.
Nice.
Rated, I think, 92 points by somebody. I forget who even rated it. So I said, let's give this one a go. But that's the science behind how we ended up with this bottle of champagne. The only thing I really knew was wanted it to be champagne, wanted it to be somewhere in our normal budget.
Yeah, and this will be an interesting one because this is kind of a direct competitor with the de Saint Gall, which we tried for our 1-year anniversary show, just about the same price, also champagne. So it'll be interesting to see how this one stacks up because if you remember, I put that one in my wine fridge.
I do remember that.
It has some pretty heavy competition going into the new year. So we'll see how this one pans out.
Well, that makes this really fun, little competition.
And I want to name two things as reminders for either our new listeners or our younger wine knowledge folks like myself, that the non-vintage aspect of champagne particularly is the norm, right? Like in most champagnes that you grab, you're not going to see a year on it. It's only when you get into the real luxury, more expensive bottles that you start to see vintage on champagne.
And it all depends upon the year too. So not every year the grapes come in good enough to declare vintage. So not only does the year have to be special, but the grapes have to be special. And you're right, you usually only see it towards the upper end. So that's why you usually don't see affordable vintage champagne.
Yeah, and then the second thing in general is like, the wines on the show normally range from, I would say, 90% of the time, $15 to $30. We try to stay in that range because we think there's a lot of wines in there that are good to be explored. When you get into champagne, actual champagne, not just sparkling wine, champagne from Champagne, it's harder to find anything below the $35 mark, really. So, this is the lower end of champagne as far as affordability.
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully, though, an example of, nice value still being a quality product. I will also say, as I was searching through the rack at my local Total Wine, Marie de Moy did have a vintage bottle in there. I was quite tempted to pick that one up too, but I did not.
Do you remember the price tag on that bad boy?
I'm going to blow your mind a little bit because I don't know what situation is going on at Marie de Moy, but this was a 2013 Brut vintage, $60. $60.
Wow. Interesting.
An 11-year-old,
Reasonable.
vintage, $60. So I might have to go back and get that just for fun and just for comparison.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, if this turns out to be like a passable champagne, it would be kind of fun to walk into a New Year's Eve party, with an 11-year-old champagne. That's kind of fun.
Yeah,
Ballin'.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when it's in the price range of, and the other thing I think we've talked about in the past is like brand plays such a huge part in champagne, and people, especially when you go to a housewarming or a baby shower or New Year's Eve, people walk into their grocery store or walk into their liquor store and you go straight to those big brands that and end up spending a pretty penny on what might not be the absolute best champagne for your buck. Like, I would rather spend $60 on an 11-year-old champagne, a vintage, than $65, $70 on like the Moet, really fancy bottle that's always they sell in a box that you see at every baby shower on the planet.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Hopefully.
worth a try.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it's that cheap because they picked the wrong years. Or
That's my question. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, was
2011
2013 really the year to do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So
we
sounds
can-
like
we
value,
can-
but who knows?
exactly.
So many
exactly.
questions, though.
We'll circle back to that. Right now, we've got the non-vintage in front of us, and I think we should go ahead and give this Marie de Moy Grand Cru champagne a try.
Tastes like wine.
Let's do it. Ooh. Wait, do that again, because that sounded good. I might have talked over it.
That's just me pouring more champagne into my glass now.
Yeah, Aaron's
Do it again.
glass.
Do it one more time. Do it one more time. Keep one more time. Thank you.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. All right, guys. I will go to you, Aaron, since you just poured so much in there. You need to drink a little bit of that.
It's just really activated. There's lots of bubbles now. No, I'm glad you did, because I will say, like, there is a distinct smell to champagne and sparkling, I think, in general, that, we drink a lot of reds and we drink a lot of whites, and you're like, oh, this kind of reminds me of these other things. And champagne has such a distinct smell to it. It's like so much breadier, and there's just such a, and Colin will have the better specific words, but it's this, I don't know.
Champagniness.
It's a champagniness, like you just know it. It's like deeper and richer, and it just has this very familiar scent to it. That's like, welcome back to New Year's. I'm excited. Fill me in, Colin, because you know what I'm talking about.
That's what Aaron's getting on the nose. How about you, Colin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
well,
years
I
in,
just-
Aaron's an expert at this point.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm joking around.
Absolutely.
It makes
No,
perfect sense. Yeah.
That somehow made sense. I'm still not totally sure what you said, but in my mind, I'm like, God, this
Damn
guy
right.
gets it.
Nailed it.
Well, one, I just want to say I'm glad my sniffer is back to almost 100%.
Yeah.
Thank
Welcome
God.
back.
So
You
are
feeling
we.
good today?
No, I'm still a little stuffy, but I can smell this no problem. So I'm
Okay,
really
good.
excited about that. But yeah, like Aaron said, there's quite a bit of breadiness on this. I would absolutely agree with that. There's a really nice citrus, like lemon, on here, very lemony. And then I'm also getting a hint of almond, but it's not. It's almost essence of almond. It's not like you're eating a handful of almonds where you get or that fake almond extract taste. This is just kind of like almost like somebody spritzed an almond into this wine, and then maybe
Yeah.
a little, just a tad bit of vanilla in there as well.
Like maybe the vanilla-iness is like kind of the part that like sticks out to me because the citrus is there, and I didn't say citrus because it just feels like a different kind of citrus than when we drink like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Grigio. We always name like, oh, this is very citrusy,
Yeah.
but like this has just that, and maybe it's the breadiness that balances it out, but it just it's weighted down by something else, which is very distinct.
Yeah, maybe it's because I also think that it's pretty fruity on the nose as well. And the only other thing that I would call out there is a little bit of like an apricot. Yeah, that was
100%.
the first thing that popped into my
Absolutely.
brain.
I'm glad you said that because I couldn't agree more. It is very apricot, delightfully apricot, I would say.
Yeah.
Really nice, fresh apricot.
All right, let's give it a try. I'm gonna keep with the order and go to you, Aaron.
I mean, so much of what we named on the nose is there in the taste, just from like a balance standpoint. It's very, very nice. Has a nice body on it. Really great acidity. It's very crisp. Like this is like a very crisp champagne. And then getting a lot of that citrus, maybe a little bit more of like the appley green apple on the taste and the nose. But of course, like the breadiness too is really there. I couldn't point an apricot out in a lineup, so that's on you guys to let me know if that fell through.
Joel, what do you think about the
I'm
apricot
with you.
since you called it out?
I'm standing behind it. I think I like that
100%.
call.
Love that call.
I thought that it's not super bready, I'm going to say, in my opinion. I thought it might be a little bit more on the nose, but it's kind of subtle in there. Those are pretty much the big notes to me. Colin, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think apricot for sure. I mean, that's
Yeah.
almost number one there. Green apple, I like. You get a little
Yeah.
bit of that on the finish. I think you're definitely getting some of that almond in there as well. And you're right, Joel. I was expecting this to be a lot more bready than it was
Yeah.
based on the nose, but it's not. It's still in there, but it's not as intense as you would find in some other champagnes. And I think I do get a little just hint of that vanilla, but again, it's more like essence of vanilla. There's a lot of like really subtle hints in this wine of different flavors besides maybe the apricot. There's actually quite a bit of lemon in there too. Zesty, I think, was a really good word, Aaron, because you do get a lot of that citrus, a nice bright punch of acid as well. But yeah, no, I think there's quite a bit going on in here for sure.
And Colin, help me out with something because I'm trying to piece something together in my head, and I feel like you cross a line at a certain point between like cheap sparkling wines and nicer sparkling wines, and it's not like a stickiness, but it's this. When you drink cheap sparkling wine, you're right off the bat, you're like, this is gonna suck. Maybe it's the sugariness or the sweetness, but you're like, oh man, I'm here. And this is gonna mess up my day later. And this like is worlds away from that. You take a sip of that, and you're like, "Oh, this is so nice and crisp and fresh." What is that defining difference between, when you kind of know like this is gonna be Hangover City and this is a nice glass of sparkling wine?
Yeah, I'm not sure where the line is because I mean, if you think about cava, you can get some really nice cavas for like $13. So yeah,
It's
that's
not even
cheap,
a price point,
but-
right? It's like a quality aspect. It's like
Right.
I
for
think
sure.
it's what went into the process, because if this is sitting in some barrels for a little while and then has the time it needs to sit in the bottle, it has the time to round out and soften out and become what it should be. I don't think the guys, maybe what you're kind of thinking of too, Aaron, where it's, the real cheap end, they might do things to try to replicate the time and love that has to go into something
right.
that needs it. But, the quick, as with most things, the quick way of doing that usually doesn't work out as well as the long, hard work.
Yeah, it's a raw material too, if you think about it. The growers in Champagne spend a lot of effort. It's not easy to grow grape in Champagne because of how cold it is, which is part of the reason why you don't always get a vintage, because sometimes the grapes just don't get right enough to produce the type of wine that you would put a vintage on. And at the lower end, you're just not using the same quality raw material. And I think it also speaks to the traditional method or Champagne method. I think that has a lot to do with the flavors and the experience of the wine itself. But I agree with Joel too. Absolutely, 100%.
And I'm really glad both of you brought up the price point, because when I'm saying like cheaper wine, I think at this point my brain has switched from like, I'm not talking about price point. I'm talking about the cheapness of the materials, the cheapness of the process of making it, the cheap, not from a money standpoint, but like cheapness from like,
Take it the easy
just
way.
the experience, right? And because as we learned, like you said, with the cava, that's such a great point, is when you pull wines from regions that are not as well known, you get a lower price point because of demand. And we know that, that one cava that we did last year is running $11 right now, and I don't hate it.
No.
But there's a noticeable drop off in quality sometimes when you have a sparkling, especially when you're just trying to grab that thing for mimosas or whatever. And not to get into review, but this just doesn't have that aspect of it. Like, this feels like a higher quality champagne, obviously.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Would agree. I kind of have a question here, since it's straying a little bit from our normal thing, but I feel like since this is the last episode of the year for us, and as we've mentioned, so much fun that we've had this last year, so many different regions and grapes and so much learning, I kind of want to ask a couple questions, maybe we can call this the first Stop Wasting Your Wine retrospective, and see.
Love that.
Good
If-
word.
thank you
Spell
very
it.
much.
Spell Mollier. Go.
What,
Just kidding.
retrospective?
Yeah, that's not a tough one.
I got
feel
that
like
one,
I can
dude.
get
Okay,
one.
do it.
I'm not going. I'm not going to.
Says
but I feel
Colin.
Like I can.
Love that. No, but I want to know. So looking back, tell me, are there any wines that stand out for you?
Oh, man. Well, total transparency, Colin was kind enough to put a list of this last year in front of us, which is essential because in my brain, anything that happened over 3 months ago happened last year. Like, I have no concept
For sure.
of what happened in 2024. Whenever they do the end of the year, like, New Year's Eve, this is the stuff that happened this year. The first 5 minutes of that, I'm always baffled that was this year. Just totally shook and surprised. I mean, because we had some huge ones this year. The Chateau de Tout was one that we kind of found on a shelf that was really, really good. That ended up in my fridge for a while.
Yeah.
The St. Giorgio Chianti Classico, which I think we've talked about. We've said
Quite a
that
bit now,
name
sure.
more than the name of our own show. Like that, like that one stuck out. That was a great one. And then, one that we don't talk about as much as we should, but they were great. The producer was great. The wine was great. Was the Donna Chiara Fiano that we had on the show that we really liked, which was just kind of a white grape from Italy that we've never had before, and it was really enjoyable. And the producer was messaging us.
Different
it was so cool.
and delicious. Yeah, I remember that one. That's a good call.
That was 3 shout out to me. What about you, Colin?
No, I love it.
Yeah, so I've got one, obviously, on the high end. I don't think we could ask this question without talking about the Robert Graffier Burgundy. And that was
What a
just-
great day.
this is
What a great
on.
day for the three of
Special-
us to be able
special
to touch each other.
wine.
Yeah.
Not only was the experience fun, but the wine was outstanding.
Yeah.
Shout out
so on
to the
high-
podcast doctor. That was just a super fun day.
Yep, absolutely, for sure.
And he edited that entire episode while we were sitting there for the listener at home. Like, that was
Podcast
cool.
doctor,
We walked
Orlando,
out
Florida.
with like a, here's your episode. It was very cool.
It was very
And the wine was okay.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right,
so
well,
good.
Crazy
It was
guy.
so good.
Aaron's done. No, but and then on the low end, the one wine I think about all the time is that Casal Garcia Vino Verde. That was just
Yes.
Like for
Yeah.
$8, that wine is almost unbeatable. Like it's
so
just
good.
it's
Yeah.
just so tasty for $8. I don't know how you
And
beat that. To be honest.
$8.
So,
I forgot it was
$8.
$8.
freaking
You can't even get a
dollars.
$5 footlong for $8 for $5 anymore. That's
like,
it's an
right.
$8 footlong.
2 or 3 fun things about that. Like, one, I have 6 of those bottles just sitting in my wine pantry, just
Yeah.
ready to go for the spring. 2, they're everywhere now. Like, you literally can get them in my little wine shop. It's not even wine shop, it's a liquor store around the corner from my house. And 3, that
Liquor store around the
that,
corner.
recommendation came from my buddy Nate, who I graduated high school with, who listens to the show. Just like guy I've haven't barely talked to. You should talk to more over the past 20 years. Listen to the show and send us a message being like, y'all should check this out. And that was just like a really cool, like a cool little interaction that resulted in our by far best value wine that we have
Yeah,
ever
100%.
reviewed.
For sure.
For sure. Joel, how about you? Are there a couple
well-
that stand out to you?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny when you started saying low end and you said a wine that started with a C, I thought, and you sparked a memory in my head, I thought you were going on more kind of like the negative side of the spectrum here. And the
Oh.
Casillero del Diablo popped into my head.
God, that
Bummer.
that wine was
Such a cool
trash.
story.
and-
Not a cool wine.
Well, that's why it sticks in my head. It's everywhere. The story is so cool, and it just it didn't deliver, and I was so bummed by that.
Yeah.
Didn't deliver is the nicest thing you could say about that
Yeah.
wine.
We should
It's very
should
true.
maybe give it another shot someday.
We should.
Yeah,
I don't even
no,
know
I
if
don't
it
think
was a
so.
vintage.
I have to call out. I mean, we had one of these earlier this week, the Sacrestia. Man, that was like
Oh, yeah.
a game changer for me.
Sacrestia.
The Sacrestia, and that's
and
just
Ashwin on that episode. Just the episode itself was so cool.
well, that was one of my favorite episodes too. Yeah,
Ever.
For sure.
such a fun.
Awesome wine. Fantastic one.
Yeah, yeah, so good. Favorite episodes? Let me ask you guys that.
I mean, honestly, every episode we've had people on was just
Yeah,
awesome. I never thought when
For
Colin
sure.
tricked us into doing the show that we would have legitimate cool people
How
would
about
agree
that?
to come on and talk to us.
yeah.
And we had Cheryl with Savi B was absolutely awesome. Obviously, Ashwin from Unpinned was great. Colin, you had one.
Yeah, Jim Duane. I've listened to that guy's podcast for years now. So to have him on our podcast was literally mind blowing. Like it was quite a podcasting experience. Just aside from the fact that he made awesome wine and came to the show with amazing knowledge, just being able to interview somebody that you've listened to for such a long time was such a cool experience beyond just the wine, but from a podcast.
Anthony
perspective.
Dale from Fatherhood Wine came on, and he was
Very cool.
awesome, and his story was cool. And Pure Bar is opening up very, very soon. He's been posting all of his images from the construction.
It's happening.
Awesome.
It's happening, and it's really exciting.
Awesome.
And Amanda Bandini from Bandini Wines, and like that was another cool one
So
where like
cool.
you know, in my brain, I was like, oh, this has been like a forever wine family. And then she like shared her family story of just like, no, her dad just like really wanted to do this thing. And now it's part of her life. And that's been a really
So
cool vineyard and organization to support along the way as well.
Two
And the wine was
things.
fantastic.
And the
Just
wine was
absolutely
fantastic.
fantastic.
I mean, all
Awesome
the wine that we
Changed.
like that's been sent our way has been just amazing.
Yep.
I think about the Bandini episode a lot. Two things stick out to me. Number one, remember the image of the vineyard that she painted with like the rivers
rocks.
converging and the rocks
Yeah.
and all this. I think that's
The
become like
rocks.
my happy place that I go in my brain sometimes. And number two,
Love that.
the wine opener that she sent is
Great wine
the
opener.
best
Thank
wine
you.
opener.
The
I
best
don't
wine
even
opener.
use the other wine keys in this house because that one is far
You don't need to.
superior.
You don't need to.
So
Thank you
good.
for the wine opener. Very
Yeah,
kind of you.
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat those episodes. And just
It's
spoiler
true.
alert, we have 5 guests lined up for the first 3 months
Oh.
of 2025.
Wow.
Oh, fantastic.
Spicy.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love that.
excited. I'm stoked.
I agree.
Yeah, it'll be
Always cool. Always cool when we talk to some folks from the biz. Looking forward to that. Speaking of looking forward to the next year, what are some, let's call them wine resolutions that you guys have moving into 2025?
Yeah, so mine is to, I would say, expand my wine knowledge. So I don't think I'm going to go as far to like take a course because it's very expensive, but I want to start reading more, interacting with the general wine community.
Yeah,
I
love that.
love just talking to other wine folks on the socials, so I'm going to try to do that a little bit more and just really kind of dive into wine and the more technical aspects of it because I recently started getting more into it and it kind of reignited the spark of why I started doing this to begin with. You know, I just love wine is such an expansive topic, and there's just so much you can learn, and I just love learning about it. Like it's just so fascinating to me. So that's
love
the one
that.
thing I really want to get into in the new year, as far as wine is concerned, is really dive into expanding my knowledge of not only the process but the regions, you know, tasting, all of it.
That's awesome. I feel like the more you learn about wine, the more you learn there's more to learn.
That's right.
It just keeps
And the more you,
snowballing.
for me anyway, the more I want to get into it. Like the
Yeah.
more I learn about any of the wide variety of topics, I'm just like, wow, where does that lead? And then you go down a rabbit hole, and then you end up down another rabbit hole, and 6 rabbit holes later, you're like, what just happened?
Where am
but
I?
it's where am I? Help me.
But
But it's an awesome subject, and I love it, and I look forward to learning more about it in the new year.
it's beautiful. Aaron, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, I think I got two. I think one is to really start pushing myself now that I know anything, to really start pushing myself to explore geographically regions around the places that we've learned about so far. So really looking for those interesting different wines, which you can do really easily, especially at big wine shops like Total Wine, where you go into the region, you're like, okay, I'd be looking here. Now I'm just going to look over a little bit and just find a couple new regions outside of, this is Côte d'Rône. You look around the Côte d'Rône section, you immediately get into like a couple different regions. So I want to explore that and start to like put pins in my maps to see what else is going on. And I also want to start exploring a little bit more vertically with some of the vineyards and producers that we like. I know we like
yeah.
Eagle. I'm like, I've had the Côte d'Rône. I want to spend a couple extra bucks and check out their, Chateau de Palme. And and I want to just kind of go up and down a little bit on the St. Giorgio and just kind of, one, support producers that we like. And two, start to explore up and down their, quality verticals and just see how that is.
I love that.
Awesome. Love that.
So much to explore. I think I kind of want to actually learn more about wine from a technical perspective. And I think what I want to do, I've always kind of thought about doing the WSET2, which I know you have, Colin.
Yeah. Would recommend.
And I think I'm going to make that my goal here in 2025 is to
love that.
go ahead and do that. Maybe we'll document that process along the way, share a little bit about what that's like. We're so fortunate here in Orlando. We have so many great, just wine shops and just a great wine community. And so close to us here is a place where, they execute the training there. So I have no excuses, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make that happen this year. So that's my wine
that.
resolution.
Well, I can't be left in the dust. I'm already the official dummy on the pod. I can't be like the technical dummy as well. So if you pull the trigger on that, Joel, let me know.
Okay, I will let you know. And
Ooh,
also,
wow.
I want to say, I don't think you're not the dummy anymore. You've learned
I'm
so
still the
much.
comparative dummy, and that's fine because there needs to be a dummy on the show to ask the questions. That's okay. I just don't want to be the technical dummy.
I understand. Well, is this the year that we somehow will make this a competition?
Growth.
You and I both
Oh,
doing
man.
our WSET2.
Yeah.
Let's
Do you get
go
scores, Colin? Do
with
you get
honors.
like a
Yeah.
number? Ooh.
With merit
Yep.
and something.
Yeah, with the I pass with distinction. So there's the bar.
Careful, buddy. I'm a notoriously excellent tester, just so you know.
That is
Yeah.
one thing. I feel like when you are tasked with like learning something and being tested on it, you really dig in. So this might be really hard. But
I only missed one
doing it.
question.
Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it had something to do with fortified wine, which
Of course.
admittedly I know very little about.
Huh?
I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We should try it though. Throw that
Let's
onto
do
the
it.
list of
We
wine
should.
resolutions.
We got
for
we got to set up like
2025.
52 episodes for the next
Let's
year.
try some
let's,
Yeah.
fortified
rock
wine.
and roll.
Yep.
Let's make it happen. I love it.
Cool. Love that.
All right, while we're walking down memory road, why don't we go ahead and play a little gut check?
Good check.
Yes. All right, so this is fun. We've only done this once before, but
By the way, did I just say memory road?
you did? You did. You made up a new phrase, and Colin and I made eye contact somehow through the internet, and then we let it go.
Who says memory road? I love that.
Listen, I'm here for it. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing.
Memory
Road lane.
Avenue.
You did.
it.
Nostalgia Street. Let's go. All right. So, this is a great game. And for those of you who are super into the TikToks and Instagrams, you know what this is. We're just going to rock down a list of some of the wines we've had this year. And the person who is the focus of the questioning has to keep naming which one they'd prefer. And so it's kind of a survival game. You can keep sticking with the same wine that can stay on, but as soon as you hear one that you prefer over that, it drops off the other one. We're going to do white wines this time because last time we did this, we did our reds, and it's kind of weird if you bop back and forth between reds and whites. It's not super comparative. Would either
Mental
of you gentlemen like to
gymnastics
go
there.
first?
I would like for Colin to go first.
Yeah, that's fine. Bring it
Fortune
on,
favors
baby.
the bold. Way to step up.
Bring it on, baby.
Yes. All right, I'm going to make this hard. Are you ready, Colin?
Let's do it. Hit me.
All right, Colin. The Vino Verde or the Ferrari Fumé Blanc?
Oh, Vino Verde. Easy.
The Vino Verde or the Josh SWYW?
Vino Verde.
Vino Verde or the Donna Chiara and Pascio Fiano?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going Vino Verde.
Ooh, the Vino Verde or the Aslaxus Albarino?
Oh, man. The Albarino.
Ooh, the Albarino or the Stag's Leap Chardonnay?
Albarino.
The Albarino or the Laurent Delaunay Macon Villages?
Oh, man.
Village.
Village.
I'm probably. Oh, that's tough. Probably going with the Laurent Delaunay.
Okay.
Village.
Laurent Delaunay or the Blauklippen Chenin Blanc?
Ooh, I'm sticking with the Macon Village.
The Laurent Delaunay or the La Vostra Prosecco Superior DOCG?
Oh, La Vostra for sure. I really enjoyed that one.
Ooh, but now the La Vostra Prosecco or the De Saint Gall Champagne?
I mean, the De Saint Gall is in my wine fridge, so it'd be hard to put anything over that. So,
What about the De Saint Gall or today's Marie de Moy?
Do we want to get in the review this early?
Ooh,
Let's save
this
that.
guy trying to jump the gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
let's-
I was trying to tease it out of you. Okay, fine.
Nice
All right.
try. Not
But I have to
today.
say, I am
Iron Dome.
I am proud of our like $18 La Vostra Prosecco Superior because it did technically beat out every single white wine before that, and it got
Which-
knocked off
In
by
large part, I would agree with. I mean,
Yeah.
that was great wine. I really enjoyed that.
Hey, I think that's great. Hey, it's awesome. I mean, that's a super good value find. All right, Joel, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
The Casal Garcia Vino Verde or the Ferrari Fumé Blanc?
Vino Verde.
The Vino Verde or the Josh SWYW?
Vino Verde. Sea
The
Sweat,
Vino
very
Verde?
fun though.
It was surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
The Vino Verde or the Donna Chiara Impascia Fiano?
The Fiano.
Yeah. The Fiano or the Aslaxus Albarino?
Albarino.
Ooh. The Albarino or the Stag's Leap Chardonnay?
Albarino.
The Albarino or the Laurent Delaunay Macon Village?
Ooh, the Village. Yes, indeed.
The Village or the Blauklippen Chenin Blanc?
The Chenin Blanc.
Ooh. The Chenin Blanc or the La Vostra Prosecco Superior?
The Chenin Blanc.
Oh. The Chenin Blanc
Oh,
or
okay.
the De Saint Gall Champagne?
Oh, the De Saint Gall Champagne. Yeah.
Okay. But hey, hats off to the Blauklippen Chenin Blanc for being the strongest of the whites that are not sparkling.
Nice.
And then, to no surprise to anyone, the de Saint Gall, which is a really solid value champagne for, I think we said about $38, which just is topping off our whites for the year for sure.
Nice. But all, that was a good, really, really good list. You made me think of some other ones earlier when we were talking about, wines that stuck out too. That SWYW was a fun one, and kind of in that same category of really cheap, but pretty fun, pretty nice.
And we grabbed it because it was like a push. It was something that was going out. It was a marketing thing. It was a weird mix, right? It was like a Pinot Grigio.
Oh, yeah. It was a
Sauvignon Blanc mix
Sauvignon
or
Blanc,
something
I
like
think.
that. Like it was a
Yeah.
strange,
Yeah.
and it was good. And it was
That's
good.
right.
It was a great little porch pounder, I believe.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Aaron,
Yep.
do you want to run through yours real quick?
Yeah.
If one of you want to do it, because I think I have some differences in you.
All right, Aaron. Here we go. The Vino Verde or the Ferrari Fume Blanc.
Vino Verde.
Vino Verde or the Josh C. Swept.
Vino Verde.
Vino Verde, the Donna Chiara Fiano.
Donna Chiara.
Donna Chiara Fiano or the Alexis Albarino.
Donna Chiara.
Ooh, Donna Chiara or Stag's Leap Chardonnay.
That's a Stag's Leap Chardonnay.
Oh, yeah, that one was in your wine fridge for a little
It
bit.
was in my wine fridge.
Yeah, Stag's Leap Chardonnay or the Laurent Delaunay Macon Village.
The Stag's Leap Chardonnay.
Oh, Stag's Leap Chardonnay or the Blau Klippen Chenin Blanc.
The Chardonnay.
Oh, wow, look at the Chardonnay go. Stag's Leap Chardonnay or the La Vostra Prosecco Superior.
The Chardonnay.
Oh, man, Stag's Leap Chardonnay or the Des Saint Gall Champagne.
Don't you do it.
The St. Gall champagne. It was
Yeah,
really
okay, I
good.
guess.
It was like really good.
I was like, hey, way to go
It
all
was
the
really
way.
good.
I was
It was really
slightly
good.
worried there at the end, but
No,
I think we
no.
all-
No, the De Saint Gall was the best bang for your buck within the region. If you think about getting that affordable bottle of Bordeaux or Burgundy or Champagne, like that was the best for a classic region of wine. It was unbeatable this year. It's unbeatable.
Heard. Yeah.
But the Stag's Leap Chardonnay, like it was in my wine fridge, short lived.
It was.
It got knocked out pretty quickly after that. I forget by who. Red wine, probably. But it's very good, and it deserves to be. It gets its flowers, as the kids would say.
I think honestly, this was a good choice because all of these I think deserve their flowers. Great look back on some of the best white wines that we've enjoyed in this last year. Yeah. Very
I tried to
fun
pull a
little-
list of wines that were at least all debatably decent. I think probably the Ferrari Fume Blanc was probably the weakest link of all of it.
100%.
But it was unique and it was something.
Sure.
The other wines on there were mostly either something we knew was going to be good or what were a pleasant surprise, which was exciting.
Yep.
Again, especially the $6 Vino Verde. Like, it was just delightful.
God,
Absolute winner.
About it. It's so good. Yeah. Awesome. We'll love it. Thanks so much for putting that together, Aaron. Nice little look back
Gut
on
check.
the last day here. Little gut check on New Year's Eve for you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and just revisit our Marie de Moy Grand Cru Champagne. Not sure we'd expect too much change here on a champagne, but should we check in on the bubbles, see if they're still bubbling here or anything else anybody wants to call out?
Oh, we bubbling.
Yeah, I mean, bubbles are still bubbling, but the champagne has not opened up much over the past hour because it is champagne.
No, it's about the same.
Yeah, but bubbles are still bubbling, and that's perfect because we can enjoy these as we roll into our reviews.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
All right, so since this is my bottle, I will reserve the honor of doing the last review of 2024. Wow. So I will go ahead and throw it to Aaron to kick us off.
Okay. No, I'm gonna say this. I love this. I think this is a tasty champagne. But the thing I love the most about it is I just love that we keep finding champagnes from vineyards or producers that I've never heard of before. I think this is such a valuable piece of information for the listener, for folks who listen to our show to try to expand their repertoire. This is an example of a champagne that you can buy. You can go to the store and you can spend $40 and walk into a dinner or a party or a housewarming or whatever and have a really good bottle of wine that isn't like the whatever brand that everyone gets that costs you $80 that isn't as good. This has a really nice body to it. It's a really nice finish to it. I am not as much of a champagne connoisseur as Colin or you, but like I think this is a very good champagne, especially at the price point of $40.
So where are you putting it?
Man, I was just so excited. I didn't even think about where I'm shoving this thing. Like I'm putting this squarely on my kitchen table. It's not. I love the coziness of my wine fridge. I don't think I'm looking for a champagne in my wine fridge, but this is definitely going to turn. This is going to turn into a go-to. I'm going to a friend's house. I'm going out to dinner. I need to grab a bottle, and I don't want to spend $1 million, but I want to have a good bottle of champagne. This is top of the list with the De St. Gal. Like they're both great.
Love it. Colin?
Yeah, this is a really delicious bottle of wine. There's no doubt about that. Not only did it taste good, but the structure is really nice. It's not overly bready. The fruit really shines through on the palate. The notes of apricot and the citrus really work well together. So from a flavor standpoint, fantastic. From a value standpoint, fantastic. To answer Aaron's question earlier, this or the De St. Gal, you know, unfortunately, there's only room for one champagne in my wine fridge, and this is not going to be it. But with that said, it is going squarely on the kitchen table. This is a fantastic bottle of wine. Like, there's no reason if you're looking for a champagne that you can absolutely afford in the $40 range, give this one a shot. Absolutely pick it up. Would not hesitate to drink this one again or show it off to friends. You know, I think it's a fantastic bottle of wine for the price. So
go to your local establishment and they don't have De St. Gal, but they have this. No love lost. Grab this bottle. Like it's
for sure.
It's good. In the same price
going
range.
De St. Gal though, if it's between the two. Is that just
100%?
Yeah.
I agree.
Joel, bring us
first of
home.
all, I'm so glad that y'all are enjoying it so much. That just fills my heart with so much joy. I am also enjoying it. I don't think quite as much as you two are, but I am very happy with this. But I think when you stand it up to the De St. Gal and you know some of the other champagnes we've tried on this show, it's probably and not. I'm going to say champagnes because this is
only number
really
3.
nice and really good. This is
And you're responsible for 2 of them.
Third place. This is in third place. That is true. Thank you. Yeah.
really
You're putting this
clear
behind the
third.
Vouv?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Wild.
Yep. Yeah, I am.
But that's because he has a place in his heart where the Vouv sits.
No. It's not even that. I'm taking out any kind of emotions or whatever that I have.
I don't believe you.
I know 100%. 100%. And this is really good. This is going to go on my kitchen table. It's not prominent in there. It's on there steadily. But I don't know. It's just, I want it to be like I don't know if this is going to make sense, but a little finer. I want it to be a little finer. It's got all the notes that you just said, but I would love if it was either just a little bit crisper or if it was a little bit breadier. You know, like I love a crisp champagne. I love a bready champagne that's like, I'm just going to brioche you right now. And this one's not really doing either. But what it's doing is very lovely. Like you called out, Colin, the flavors are really nice. But there's no point to it, you know, like no expression. It's just a nice experience. So if that's, you know, that's the way that I like to drink champagne. But if, you know, you like to be right down the middle of the lane, maybe this is going to be perfect for you. But for me, this is going on the kitchen table, would show to friends, not going to write home about it.
I think that's totally fair.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for the next year because I want to challenge us to not only find a couple more champagnes that are in this price range, but, you know, we really liked the Louis Bouillot Cremant. And we talked about how, Cremant especially is a great value wine because it's made in the same method as Champagne and just is not in the geographic region of Champagne. I would love for us to have enough of these under our belt by the end of next year to really be able to start to compare and contrast whether or not there is a significant quality difference between some really solid Cremants and some really solid Champagnes.
If your resolution for 2025 is to drink more bubbles of any kind, I am 100% with you.
You're okay with that? You're okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm mad about that. Great.
I'm signed up. Let's do that. Yeah.
On it.
Good.
Well, all that to say, very clearly not a waste of your wine. The Marie de Moy Grand Cru Champagne, absolutely. If you are looking for a last-minute bottle of wine to bring tonight and you're listening on New Year's Eve, you've got our stamp of approval. Go check this out. Bring it. We think you're going to have a good time. I would like to say, on that note, gentlemen, if we could just raise our glasses.
Seriously.
Raise our bubbles. Little cheers to you all. Fantastic year. Here's to a happy new year. To our listener who's been hanging out with us all this year, thanks so much for hanging with us. It means so much. It's been so much fun. We're looking forward to 2025 with you. Hope you'll come back and we have a lot more fun and learn a lot more together. So cheers to 2025. Hope you all have a great new year.
Cheers, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh, love that. And with that, Aaron, run us through our socials.
I would love to. It's been a big year for our social media. Seriously, if you want to reach out to us, interact, if you want to come on the show, we have a great lineup of guests over the next few months. Stop Wasting Your Wine on Instagram is where we generally interact with people. You can email us, stopwastingyourwine@gmail.com. Check out our website, stopwastingyourwine.com. Find us on YouTube, Stop Wasting Your Wine, and pretty much every social media site, Blue Skies, TikTok, Stop Wasting Your Wine. Don't look for us on X. We're not about that.
Not on X.
Drop that. Love it. All right. Well, hey, listen, again, thanks so much for joining us. Been an awesome episode, been an awesome year, and we'll see you next week for the first episode of 2025 at Stop Wasting Your Wine. And remember, in the meantime, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Wow.
You got to do it better than that.
Yeah, I'm gonna retake that one.
Bye.
I'm gonna retake that one.
Take two,
Last
take
one.
two.
Yeah, last one. Okay. Bye.
There it is.
Bye.
Nailed it.